Last time we talked about how Speed Racer was the best anime to live action adaptation of all time. Today, I offer you its #1 competitor, Live, Die, Repeat, otherwise known as Edge of Tomorrow. Yes, this movie has 2 names. It's a similar strategy to uploading on YouTube. Are you double guessing your title? Thumbnail not doing it? Just slap a new title on that bad boy. I'm sure no one is going to be confused. I want to talk about Edge of Tomorrow, considering it's my favorite Tom Cruise movie. There's a few things I want to cover, such as this movie's inspiration, plot elements, and a story where Tom Cruise starts off as a loser.
Coward, we have a new world to conquer.
Spoilers from here on out. Let's start with the story for the uninitiated. Edge of Tomorrow is a story about time travel and aliens, or more accurately, aliens that can manipulate time to always win in battle. The movie begins with Major William Cage, a military relations officer who ends up being a coward with no combat experience.
I'm not a soldier, really.
No, of course you're not. That's why I'm embedding you with several 100,000 men and women who are.
After a failed attempt to blackmail the general to get out of the assault on France, Cage is stripped of his rank and tossed on the forward operating base. He meets J Squad, enters combat like your average boomer trying to use a VR headset, and ends up dying to an alpha. What's an alpha, you ask? It's this hideous thing. Looks just like your sister. Cage inhales some space blood and ends up restarting his day. Everything that follows is your standard Groundhog Day story. Cage learns what to do and what not to do through straight trial and error.
What the hell were you thinking?
Eventually, he runs into Rita Vrataski, a soldier who once wielded the same power.
You have a hole in your chest.
Really?
Rita trains, bullies, Cage into being a better fighter, and steering him toward the end goal of killing the Omega, the brains of the operation against Earth. From then on, it's the story of the indomitable human spirit against an invading alien force. Cage ends up killing the Omega and drinking its blood like Dio. He dies and resets the day before when he first arrived in London. The aliens are dead, and all is well. The reason I blitzed through the synopsis was because I wanted to break down the elements of this movie. First, the elephant in the room. This film story was based on the manga called All You Need Is Kill. I don't want to linger here, so here are some quick differences. In the manga, Rita and Cage have the Alpha's power at the same time. Mimics look like this. Cage ends up keeping track of his looped days. He also begins to develop this ability to react to things that haven't happened yet. Think of him as a lesser Anakin. And the design of the jackets, their armor, looks totally different. It makes sense that the armor ended up looking like an exoskeleton. Advanced Warfare did release in the same year, and it seems to fit better for the general military theme.
Oops.
And that's about it for key differences, except the story. Personally, I think the story in the movie is more concise, which you'd expect for a 2-hour film. But all you need to know is in the manga, Cage fights multiple battles across the world, as does Rita. You know, until she dies. It's funny how an action movie about time-looping aliens is more canonically correct to the source material than Star Wars 7, 8, and 9. First off, the concept of time-traveling aliens as a movie sounds like a disaster. How many alien movies have crashed and burned?
Chicken.
Now add to that giant pile the many time travel movies that are beyond laughable. The Tomorrow War feels like what Edge of Tomorrow would have been if it hadn't succeeded. Somehow, the directing team managed to take the 2 most complicated concepts to pull off in Hollywood and made a masterpiece. Doug Liman is like Gojo. When I combine aliens with time travel, you get
Edge of Tomorrow.
The time looping aspect is done pretty well. At first, Cage is just trying to save himself and J Squad, and his cowardly shell begins to crack with each iteration. He scrambles to find someone, anyone, to believe what is happening to him.
You're not gonna believe what I'm about to tell you.
No, I'm not.
I love that the movie does this with Tom Cruise. As we know, Tom Cruise is pretty much the live-action equivalent to the overpowered main character in anime. Giving characters room to grow can be one of the hardest things to do as a writer. Believe me, I would know after 3 years of trying to write a book. So, seeing Tom Cruise as a loser is such a great choice. And by the end of the movie, he's transformed into that kick-butt warrior we know him to be. At least this time, his transformation has some weight to it. Let's talk about the alien looping. The problem with a lot of time travel movies is explaining the time travel itself. How can the characters go back and change the past without ruining the present? You know the problems with this. That being said, I love the presentation of the mimics causing the time travel. The Omega can reset the day and keep the memories of the day that was reset. When an Alpha is killed, restart, and perfect the battle. Amazing. Two things on this concept. When we see a day reset in this movie, we often don't know how many times Cage is reset, meaning we don't know if this is a day he's encountered before or not.
The ship is about to explode!
Dialogue in this movie is peak. Peak in the way that it's crafted to distract you. Has Cage already been here, or is this his first run?
We should just reset.
Rita is a really cool side character. She also has no problem icing Cage like he's a sex offender.
And have you tried all the options?
Just wait. I think I'm okay.
The scene where she sees Cage wielding the Alpha's power is just so well executed. She could have stopped to explain everything. She could have given him warnings about losing the power. But no, she just tosses her sword down and tells him to.
Find me when you wake up.
This perfectly explains her character. Rita's sharp, to the point, a no-nonsense warrior just trying to take down the mimics. And though I've joked about it, her willingness to kill Cage without hesitation saves them time and time again. There are these little moments where she analyzes Cage, trying to understand just how far he's made it. This is why I say the dialogue is distracting. The wording is presented with just enough passion to make you think this is the farthest they've made it, just for Cage to slip up.
Thank you.
Hold on. 3. You like 3.
Oops.
This introduces the human factor in war, preservation. In the manga, because they both wield the Alpha's power, only one of them can escape the loop. This means an epic anime duel to the death, where Rita dies, leaving Cage to continue on and escape the loop. Since the movie changes that element, Cage's growing love for Rita isn't necessarily romantic, but practical. Imagine how many times he's looped, so for him to have an attraction towards Rita and want to preserve her is entirely reasonable. They reach what I'd call the unavoidable value, a place where no matter what Cage does, he can't save Rita.
Only one of us ever makes it. You die here, and if I go on and kill the Omega, you're dead.
Of course he's hesitant to continue. Yes, humanity's survival is at stake, but there's gotta be a way to save both Rita and all of mankind. So he goes off on his own to find the Omega. This moment deserves a chef's kiss, when he turns back and takes on the burden alone.
You are dead!
Cage eventually loses his power and does his best to kill the Omega on his first try. The J-Squad strike team prepares for the surprise attack on the Louvre, only to be fired upon like a German bomber over London in World War II. And that's when we hear this line.
Cage, they know we're coming, man!
But where have we heard this before?
They're not supposed to know we're even coming.
So here's my thought. Cage loses his power and gathers the team to kill the Omega like we see in the movie. They fly out to the Louvre and surprise the Omega. And despite the warning to not kill an Alpha and take one for the team, someone kills the Alpha. This happens only once, but that's all the Omega needs to know, that Cage and J-Squad are inbound. That's why the mimics know they're coming, but don't perfectly destroy them. There's only been one reset. That's why Cage is able to barely get through and kill the Omega. So the rest of these thoughts are kind of just whatever, and I didn't know how to fit them into the rest of the story. So, here we go. I've heard rumors about a sequel in development for some time, but who knows what kind of story they would tell. So here's my idea. The mimic hive mind dies when the brain is noob-tubed by Cage, leaving him as the new Omega. But we also hear a theory from Not So Crazy Joe that there could be other asteroids floating around the universe, just waiting to crash into a planet with the right conditions. Reminds me of Pacific Rim. The sequel would entail some sort of attack where a new asteroid hits the Earth and a second Omega is in play. Cage and this new Omega would simultaneously hold the power to reset the day, fighting each other like two chess masterminds, each trying to gain the advantage over the other on a battlefield consisting of millions of soldiers. Or they would do something stupid where Rita gains the Omega power and fights Cage to the death. That would follow the manga plotline to some extent. So there you have it, the second best anime adaptation so far. What do you guys think about Edge of Tomorrow? Is this a movie you like? Do you like Tom Cruise? Tell me, I need to know.
Tell me.
But, I mean,
What is it?
And join me next time where I talk about, well, I haven't really gotten that far. Maybe I'll give you a teaser of my book, or perhaps talk about Transformers again. Thank you for watching my silly video, and God bless.
Everybody